Now we head back to the pier, and hopefully I can show you around the city, and we can have a good time there too. So I'm not gonna say I wandered into the wrong part of town, but this is definitely not the touristy section either, and it's not very far from it. Just across this street is Avenue Plumage, the main drag, as it were, of Tahiti, and right by the docks, of course, as you can see. This is where the tourists come. And so this street is where the tourists go. That sounds crazy. There's only so far you can walk in the few hours that you get in Pape etē. So you have to see what you can see while you have the time and before the ship takes off. Since I've only got the afternoon, I've only got a couple of hours to do this in. Fortunately, I'm not shopping for anything in particular. If I don't find anything, I'm not going to be terribly disappointed. One of the things I see an awful lot are not just jewelry shops, but specifically pearls. I'm not sure what to make of that, why it would be so prevalent around here. I'm just sort of reporting on what I see and going, huh, that's curious. For my part, I'm rather indifferent since jewelry doesn't appeal to me, and it never really appealed to you either, which is probably why it's not something that I look at. Well, I seem to have run across the equivalent of an open-air shopping mall. Let's see what's here. All these beautiful fabric colors and styles and whatnot, and I can't even name names at this point. I can't say, oh, wouldn't this be nice if I could get this for so-and-so? It's just not, not a thing. If I was to name names, somebody would start thinking that I had somebody in mind, and it's just not something I want to start thinking about. Although, it's strange that there are so many of these places that are still closed up for one thing or another. Looks like they even have certain sections of shopping indoors. Or maybe this is just one restaurant. It's hard to see. Everything seems to go in different directions. In either event, the place is closed, it seems. It is strange trying to figure out everybody's hours around here. And while I don't expect a port city to just keep hours for the sake of us cruisers, I mean, we're a very small subset of the people who show up downtown. We're not that small. I saw another place that had quiches like this, except that they were like the size of a deep dish pizza. Vaguely tempting, to be honest. Especially considering that, as usual, I skipped lunch. I probably shouldn't. And yet there's so much color and so many smells, it's hard to say no to everything. And in fact, there's this feeling like I really should say yes to something. I do feel like that strange man in Paul Simon's song about You Can Call Me Al. Doesn't know the language, holds no currency. Everything's foreign to me, and I don't know what to make of it. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I have no idea. I don't know what I'm looking at. It's interesting to see the spiral fire escapes over here. Although again, that seems like every city has fire escapes. All right, fine. why do they look like this? But at the same time, I'm not sure what I was expecting from a city in Tahiti. I mean, a city looks like a city. What is it that sets this place apart? Other than the heat and the humidity, which, you know, given the time and season, you'll get everywhere and anywhere. Was I expecting something odd in the way of architecture? Maybe. I've seen a few thatched roofs with solar panels on them, which is amusing in its own right. Was I expecting local products that I might want to take home with me? Possibly. I wouldn't know what to look for. And again, while I'm finding stuff, it's not meant for me. So I don't know whether to bother with them. I wouldn't know who to get them for. If you were here, that would be easy. As it is, I'm at a little bit of a loose thread. So here I am wandering through Pape etē, wondering where I am, what I should be looking for, and at this point, kind of how to get back. Everything's kind of tall around here, and I can't see where the ship is. I don't expect it to overwhelm everything here, but I did expect to see it if I was near to the port. I guess I've actually made some distance between myself and the port at this point, which is probably a good thing in its own right, but it doesn't help me in terms of finding what it is I'm wanting to find. Not that I know what that is. I know I make a point of trying to get myself lost, which is probably not a good idea. I won't say that I've succeeded beyond my wildest expectations, but every time I do succeed, it is beyond my expectations to begin with, so. The problem is, of course, while these buildings seem important in one way or another, I don't know what they are, so I don't know why they might be important. All I know is that I'm in a high place in the city, and I need to make my way down towards the pier, presumably. Well, it doesn't take long. It's not a big island, after all. I managed to find myself, as you can hear, civilization. And in fact, I don't have to look too far to find the ship even. So, I've made my way home in less than an hour of wandering. Hasn't resulted in anything, but no stories to tell, no purchases to bring home, nothing to say that I was here other than this footage, which I guess is why I take this. So here I am sitting in a public park, literally across the street from the ship, just admiring the beauty of the place and wondering what exactly I can say that'll add to it. Honestly, I'm not coming up with anything, which is kind of unfortunate. It really does need something said about it. All over the place. You just circle around and just admire, again, how different it looks. You've got the thatched roofs here, even as you've got modern apartments over there. You've got war memorials here for a colonial power that was never really wanted, and yet at the same time, they've never gotten rid of. And meanwhile, back at home, we're tearing down our own monuments. Because of course, everything about us is awful. Then again, we're in a place like Tahiti that claims itself to be paradise. They have shops where you can get Japanese stuff, because that's preferable to here. Again, it's exotic to them, and it's natural to Those in Japan, I suppose. Tempting as it is, I'm realizing I'm going to be in Japan soon enough. There is no point in buying it here in Tahiti. The thing that really makes a place special is who is there, not so much what. I have friends, I have family, I have a community back home. I can't imagine leaving it. I don't know how people pick up and go from one place to another. And meanwhile, a lot of the folks on the ship, they seem absolutely nonchalant about being what they call niners and staying on for this length of time. And that's a fine way to live if you want to, I suppose. But I don't know how you keep up with people. Maybe you just don't want to. I don't know. It seems like everything is either open first thing in the morning or in the evening. It's a little disappointing. So, but at least I had some ice cream. I actually managed to find myself a roulette selling ice cream with passion fruit topping. I enjoyed the little walk around, so I got that much out of it. I guess I'll know better to walk around Pape etē during the morning next time around, if there is a next time. I wouldn't bet on it, but for future reference, and for those who might be listening and reading and hearing this over your shoulder, try walking around during the morning instead. So, talk to you later, hon. Keep an eye on me. Wish me luck. I'm gonna need it. If nothing else, wow, I gotta make sure I don't get sunburned.